It cannot coexist of you denying yourself to love someone else. Love, it's not love. If you're not being true to you, it's not love. It's some sort of trauma of trying to get acceptance externally. At the end of the day, your heart is the one that knows. Hey, welcome back to Divine Union with Heather. I am a massage therapist. I do emotion work, age regression techniques, different things in my private practice. I now call myself a Divine Union coach. So that's a coach helping you get unified heart and mind so that you can have epic and healthy and loving relationships in your life. So today we're going to explore a topic that it's a hard one. I get this question just in my sphere of influence, friends, random strangers, clients, whatever. And this question is a question I love, hate. And the question is, how do I know if I'm in the right relationship? And should I stay or should I go? Long story short is I don't have the answer. I don't have the answer. No one has that answer for you except for you. And I do have some questions that I think are helpful and a few options to look at that might be lovely and freeing. So we're going to explore some of those today. A little bit of a background on me. I recently just ended a marriage, a 12-year marriage, and it was my decision to go. It was me that instigated that. So I know the weight on someone's shoulders of making a decision like that. I know that it's not easy. And I know that someone can sit for years and years and years questioning whether it's the right thing, especially once you have kids and you realize this decision affects a lot more than just you. And it is a heavy decision. It's a hard one. So we're just going to jump on in. These are questions that I asked myself. These are questions I highly recommend you asking yourself before you decide to go. So if you have not seen the video I created on the true self, I explain a diagram of your true self, but then there's also different aspects of you. There's parts of you that you've rejected. There's parts of you that you pretend are just fine. And there's parts of you that when you really feel like you're not going to be loved, you will act out in certain ways. So there is this cycle of rejection and behavior associated with being afraid that you're not going to be loved, right? I kind of want you to be able to separate those two. And I'll link that video so you can go look at it. I want you to separate all of the behavior associated with fear of not being loved as something entirely different. And imagine that you can sit across from your partner as true selves, who they really are to the core. Some of us have never even really seen it. We don't even know. But if you can have your spiritual vision on for this, it would be really helpful. So one thing that I think is really important, and the very first question I would ask you is, when this person is in their true self, do you like, admire, respect what you see? True self. When they are in their element, doing their thing, doing what they love, laughing at the things they find funny, making jokes about the things they find funny, aspiring to certain levels, creating what they're creating, being who they are. Do you like it? Do you like what you see in front of you? And not even do you like it, do you respect who they are as a human being? Do you respect the way they treat people? Do you respect where they're headed, where they're going? If that's a no, can you ever love this person? And is it even love? I would say you can't love someone you don't respect. So that's a big question. That's something that you will have to sit with. And this video might be an invitation for journal prompting, for you to sit over some paper and a pen. I also want to flip that a little bit. When you are in your true nature, in your true core, being who you're being, loving what you love, expressing yourself the way you express yourself, finding funny the things you find funny, talking about the things that you love, when you are giddy and happy and, exploring in your way, do they like what they see? When you're being your true self, are they like, yes, this is it. This is what I've been waiting for. This is what I love. Or are they shutting you up and walking away? Are they putting you back down to where they're more comfortable? I think those are some good starting places. The other thing that's pretty important to look at is, of course, two people are imperfect, right? We do have our traumas. We do have our coping mechanisms. We do have our ways of reacting when we don't feel safe. And that's a whole other ballgame. We'll talk about that in just a second. But you are flawed. They are flawed. Are you going and desiring and aspiring to be in a similar place long term? Do what you want in your life and what they want in their lives, do they match in the grand scheme of things? Right? Because you can be flawed and they can be flawed, and you can be like, all right, but we are headed where we want to go and we can match up one day. It might be a lot of work. Do you want that? And do they want that? And are you going in a similar place? If the answer is yes, I think it's worth fighting for. I think it's worth the climb. And it's worth dealing with your coping mechanisms, your traumas, your exiles, managers, firefighters. Watch that video if you haven't seen it yet. So my final question would be, are they also going to do the work to get there? Because they can have these dreams of like, yes, this is our end goal. This is where we're going. You might be the only one doing the climb. At that point, what I would say is it's having the hard conversations. So, very first question that I asked today, true self, do you admire, respect this person? If not, it's a solid no. The second one is, are you going the same place? If you are, it's to me a solid yes. It's just, let's do the work. If one person's doing all the work and the other one's not, that's a hard conversation and something that needs to be openly discussed, possibly often, and maybe getting help of a third party. Again, I don't have the answers. These are the hard questions I ask myself. And at the end of the day, I think the only thing that really can make this decision for you of whether you're in the right relationship, whether you should stay and keep trying, or whether you should go and move on and heal. I think the only real true source is this. The heart knows and understands things that don't always make sense on paper. The heart can see things that might not make sense, and the heart will long for things, and there is no amount of shutting that heart up that will make you feel at peace in your life. You cannot shut the heart up and choose peace. You cannot shut the heart up and choose love and joy. It cannot coexist of you denying yourself to love someone else. Love, it's not love. If you're not being true to you, it's not love. It's some sort of trauma of trying to get acceptance externally. At the end of the day, your heart is the one that knows. And I think it takes spending time knowing what you're feeling and why, and expressing it, communicating it, and seeing what happens when you're sharing your true thoughts and feelings. If someone is completely rejecting and shutting that up, can you live with that? Should you live with that? I think these are good starting questions. And when I have clients or friends or whatever, I always make sure they know I don't have the answers, they do. And these are some good questions to start with. So if any of you need help with your relationships externally and need some time working through and processing, feel free to schedule a session with me below. If you are enjoying this content, I highly recommend checking out my free workshop. So in it, we do a little bit of meditation, we do getting to know your own heart and mind, and we dive deeper into a little bit of clearing with the masculine and feminine. So it's a beautiful workshop, a little over an hour, and I just want to invite you over there. The link is below.